Hi everyone, welcome to the CullRoom. I'm Ayush, founder of FilterPixel, and we built this series to take photographers behind the closed doors of the industry to see how they really work. So joining us today will be Jah Prince, which is who is our special guest. Jah runs 178 Images and Sunsplash Media out of Atlanta. You must have seen him in our previous lives, but if you have not, don't worry, he'll be here to showcase you his entire workflow and will answer your queries. He's currently shooting corporate conferences and branded experiences for clients who expects galleries delivered on the same night. Or I would say that he's the perfect fit to let you know how same day delivery really helps in your workflow and with your clients. So I will just wait for a while you are tuning in, and will invite Ja on the stage so that he can introduce himself more and also take you all through his journey. Hi Ja, how are you?
I'm doing very, very well.
Well, it's nice to see you again on this show, and I'm so glad that we got a chance to meet again. Why don't you introduce yourself once more, and where are you based, and let the audience know till they tune in.
I am Jah Prince on several platforms. You will look for JAHPRINCE. I have been in networking, doing events, and my history is also into printing. And that got me back into photography, the thing that I loved, and building good relationships, whether it is with venues, promoters, and those who do destination events, working with city council, and then the private industry. So photography is in all of those spaces, and I am now based in Atlanta, Georgia. But when I say destination events, I go almost everywhere that there's a plane or a ship, not a boat, but a ship. So those are some of the events that I do.
You talked about you are based out of Atlanta, so I'm curious what has been keeping you busy lately. Anything that you are shooting this week?
Very good question. This week coming up is a community event. So I want to almost stress that wherever you live, whatever city, state, country, continent, there is something in your community to shoot, whether it is slightly religious or slightly political, or just someone is doing a porch fest where they're just playing live music in the porch, or they blocked off a street. There's a civic association or there is some private entity or a sponsor that probably needs good content. And we are now content creators, we photographers. So some of those images are like this weekend, my neighborhood. It's a nonprofit, but again, there's a budget to shoot some content. And right after that, I love doing the Atlanta Jazz Fest. So the Atlanta Jazz
Okay.
Festival, 3 days in the park, but you got vendors, you have people, you have performance. There's a lot to cover.
Wow. And you know what? You are so busy, so it completely makes sense to ask you this question. Same day delivery is a thing that we all are
Mhm.
seeing today. Is it a thing in your current genre as well? And
Hmm.
if yes, how do you see clients expecting the photos
Hmm.
these days?
Good question. Very good question. I would say not just to each his own, but know your actual client. If your client really needs it within minutes to hours, same day, make sure you can deliver. If you are not, let's say the word built like that, if you're not built like that, it's the justification of having the technical skill, then having the knowledge base, having some tools, and then you can't complain that you're tired or that you don't have the resources. So if the resources is water, get something to drink, get something to eat, work while kneeling behind some other piece of equipment, get the job done. So same day, same hour, and like I really do mean same minutes. There are some events that are outdoors that you have to capture the moment. So as soon as the competitor wins the competition, you have to get the competitor shot. You have to get we're like there's several competitors or contenders. You have to get that shot. You have to get the winning shot, second place, third place, and you have to get group shots. You have to deliver. So sometimes they want that on screen
Hmm.
when the presentation is done. So when I say within minutes, sometimes you really have to do it before the presentation on the main stage. You have to get the raw content delivered. It's
Well,
possible. Mhm,
it's possible. It's very interesting as well. You have been shooting since a decade or more than that. I'm
mhm,
curious, how have you seen this industry emerging when
mhm,
it comes to client expectations? What exactly they were expecting before? How does
mhm.
those expectations change since you were shooting?
Good question again. I will definitely say we all as photographers we started with we just needed to print it. We needed to deliver it days, end of the week. 1 week turnaround was enough when you had to output it, film, and get it processed that way. We now know that from the digital age, producing a gallery for some of these events, whether they're music based or culture based, it can still be days. But it is great that if an event took place on a Friday or Saturday, that you deliver the gallery by Monday to public spaces. So if your clients expect something in a public space, 48 hours
Hmm,
should be okay.
48
Should be
hours.
what you contract, right? But yes, we're in 2025 and 2026, and from last year to this year, more tools in real time to deliver to, I want to say, individuals. If you're hired, your client would be who is paying you to produce the service. But the individuals that you take the images of, are they your new clients? Are they the ones pushing for same day? Before I go sit down, I want to have my photo emailed to me or, SMS text to me that way. So if this is the model that you're going for and you believe on your own that you can do it, which is create the content and then edit it and then deliver it, I feel there's a larger space within the last year. I'm not trying to get into that space, but it is possible to maintain that. Once you're known for delivering in minutes, please remember that you're gonna have to stay with that within minutes.
It's basically you're setting the expectations, and then you have to own it. Like, now
Hmm.
people identify you like that only, and then you have to own it, and
Hmm.
then you have to repeat it consistently for your clients to make that
Hmm.
brand image of yours in your niche. And
Hmm.
people are liking that. The same day delivery is becoming the
Hmm.
new norm. Um,
Hmm.
so, see, one interesting thing I would like to understand here is we have seen a couple of people coming to us saying that they're scared that this new AI stuff is gonna just change the entire thing. Like this is gonna
Hmm.
replace them. What do you think, like the AI tools when it comes to photography, which are everywhere now, where do you see the good impact, and
Hmm.
where do you draw the line?
I draw the line with there is a fake or there is a unrealness to some images because it's overprocessed with too many tools. So that is editing blemishes, that is skin touching, retouching. Those are parts of the edit phase. If the person was never at the event and you place them in the event, in the venue, in the scene, that doesn't, I don't do that. If you were next to a governor, a mayor, a prime minister, so I don't want to make fake shots. I've never made a fake shot. I've never said you were there and you weren't there. And I do understand it's part of the fantasy world that every layman person can use these tools. They are open for non-professionals. So if you'd like to create fantasy images with AI, go right ahead. So once again, it's who's your client. If your client is asking you to take real pictures in real time and then give them real results, yes, you can take a tree out of a scene. You can take a beer bottle from off the table. I'm completely okay with that. But then I am also okay with acknowledging that that photo was doctored, that photo was retouched, or it has been AI enhanced. So I will not do the fake, but I will use a tool to improve composition, obviously. But there's a limit. Yeah, has to be a limit.
Very interesting. So it's basically you are trying to say is that you have the tools and then you use it to
Mhm.
enhance the image, but you don't use it to replace the main part or so that it looks fake. Like you
Correct.
use it to enhance it, not to like fake it. You don't create an image out of an image. You just use to uh, enhance the same image that you have shot originally.
That is correct. And again, based on who your actual client is. And it is a gray area to say that do we work for the persons we're taking the images of? If I'm hired to take of a community, I'm hired by the organization to take images of the community. That organization wants to make sure that every image was that street, was that park, were the attendees. So I shouldn't take other images of other people who were never there. I shouldn't change the orientation of the street to now seem bigger and wider. Don't augment things that
Hmm.
are not there. However, if there was trash on the street, if there are certain images in the grass, you can remove them. We were doing it before there was an AI tool. The tool only helps you do those smaller things faster.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. We must be doing that all manually before, and now it's like a
Mhm.
click away to just remove the trash out of the scene. So we are
Correct.
not like doing anything new. It's more of like we're just doing it faster.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, tell me that you must be using, and we know this, like you must be there using AI tools before, and you have shown your workflows in the past when it comes to
Mhm.
FilterPixel. When it comes to FilterPixel specifically, you have been using it for a while. What
Mhm.
did your workflow look like before using FilterPixel, and where does it sit today? Like, how do you compare these two workflows?
I've definitely learned more about myself. I think I explained that the last time, and some others have shared that on different platforms, different tools, different companies. But specifically with definitely FilterPix, I don't stop talking about the product. I don't. I don't. I go everywhere. People who are professional, non-professional, and they see you with the camera, they're ready to ask. But what they thought we photographers used to do with the camera. You got to get one shot. Just get the one shot. I get it. I'm getting a lot of shots. I am not spraying and praying. I am making sure that half an eye blinks or I intended to take the image when the eye was closed. I wanted to be able to be a better photographer based on composition. So a lot of the events that I get booked for are the red carpet. And if the red carpet is step and repeat, they're posing. There's no way that they can mess up a posing shot. Come on, photographers. However, when people are looking a little left, a little right, a little smirk, a little mean, sometimes you have to take 20 shots. Out of those
Hmm.
20 shots that also have to be delivered within a couple of minutes, it seems simple. Oh, the camera does all the work. What happens when you have to yell their name? What happens when you have to say a funny joke to get a better expression? You, the photographer, have to do more than just press the button. And sometimes when you press the button, your hand might shake. So some of the things that we have to deal with to get the attention and then to pull things out of our subjects to make a better composition, sometimes, yes, you have to shoot more. You don't overshoot, but you do shoot more. And the same thing, you need a tool that can get to the best shot with the best eye, the best smirk, the best emotion, and then be able to edit it. You need a program. Come on, everybody. You need a program.
100%. And you can do it. You can do it manually, but then you need to
Mhm.
realize how much time it would take, and maybe you can. do much better utilization of their time somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Super excited to learn more about your workflow today, Jah, and show that to our audience. How does it look today? I have a couple of questions related to DeepCull after it has launched, but I would love to, show it to the audience rather than just talking about it. So, would you like to share your screen and show it to our audience? I'll just bring you in once you're ready.
I believe, let me make sure that goes there, because we're dealing with software and we must all learn how to use it. Let's try to share this
100%.
screen here. The sources, and we stop, and then I do share the screen. Can you see?
Yeah, I have to see here if I can bring you in because I don't. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Now I think it should be visible today. Yes, it is there.
All right. Well, of course, since I'm a founding club member, I have really been with FilterPixel. I have seen the improvements. I've shared my story several times on how some of these advancements can work. What I
Yep.
really want to explain sometime is if I'm not able to do it in real time, this occasion, I have some of the data of how fast and how efficient FilterPixel, the deep cull, has been. I'm already satisfied with the normal basic, but what has been very helpful, I have some long days. This is an example of a long day for me. I'm going
Oh,
from a concert to a dinner,
oh,
concert live on stage, and I know I'm going through kind of quickly here. Um, this batch is 1,662. As I explained before, um, it would make sense if I could have separate folders per day or per chunk of hours, and then ask the AI to only separate the step and repeats from the concert shots from the crowd shots. We know sometimes, and as I've now proven to myself, I don't even have the time to create the separate raw folders the way I used to. I just have to put the entire memory card in because this may have been the span of 1 hour to shoot so many images. I want to be real clear. Then I have the benefit of knowing that FilterPixel knows why I took some shots over the shoulder, some shots straight away, some inside, some slightly outside. Totally different exposures. So this is the best example that I can show from the beginning without having to narrow down. And I know for the sake of time, sometimes you only want to show that it was good when everyone was standing appropriately and I had the best exposure. Because we photographers, we really don't always take the greatest shots and we really don't always have all the settings. However, to go from 1600 to 495 is amazing. Um, I'll let you chime in right there, right before I get any further.
I was curious when it comes to deep color specifically. We have seen a couple of examples of basicals before. When it comes to genre aware scoring, we have seen deep color scoring and like reasoning about each and every photo. The culling criteria have changed as per the genre. Now it does not look into the photo with the same perspective that it culls like a wedding or a portrait event. It's basically looking into what you have really shot, and based on that genre is making a selection criterias, and based on those specific criterias, it's making the selection. So where do you see like the improvements here when it comes to the selection accuracy? And also not only that, the reasoning capability when you double click and see any photo in like a full screen and see the criterias there, the AI score there. How does that help in the process?
100%. The advanced filter section here to the right, to refine your selections. If we're shooting and we are asking the program to narrow it down to the best, some to review, some to reject. Previously, I was already content with skipping over those that are rejected. It has improved, in my opinion, the review section. It has improved when I need to know that there are partially, there's some images that I just need that are in perfect focus, but a hand was covering over someone was looking to the side, they weren't looking straight ahead. These images that are grouped together perfectly. The ability to use the AI analyst. I'm going to use this as the example. Why was this one 6.4? Slightly lower. I understand that the subject lighting is going to affect all of these images. However, one of them, a few of them, did get the best facial expression at the time that someone's singing. If this one here on the right was poor, if the glasses were not, the reflection was poor, it should get a lower score. You can slightly zoom in, slightly zoom out. I haven't seen any other software give me this amount of information and data. So I can trust it, or once again, I can shoot more. I can shoot 6 photos instead of waiting and hoping that I get one. And at this batch, I can probably shoot 12 of this subject and then now allow the AI of FilterPixel to narrow down. I understand that the subject lighting was better on this one and the overall quality. I agree. I have had less hesitation to agree that this one was good. But if I did like her expression in this, I'll make it a 5 and I'll keep moving. Survey mode is great.
I
Say
I
where.
love the fact that you have shown that AI is scoring thing. Have you ever seen that kind of in-depth analysis somewhere in another programs that you have used?
I have not. When I mention you can narrow down to even when somebody is taking a hug or dancing, I want to be able to show some other images because out of one day doing several different events, you're not even sure what you're gonna get. So knowing that yes, there are poor shots, bad exposure, but I knew there was one shot where I caught some people kissing. The fact that I could use the advanced filter to now go directly out of this batch to when they were kissing, but not just stop there. Which one of these three are actually the best?
Yeah, I would love to spend some more time in terms of this particular view. So I'm going to take off a screen a bit myself, and you can show the functionalities like the zoom in and capabilities that really helps you out to our audience so that they can understand how do you use these three groupings together.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be very interesting for people to see how it is helping in terms of picking the right shot.
Gotcha. So one out of these three seem to be better than the other. And as you zoom in and zoom out, you can go from each photo to see this they weren't touching. Zooming in one more time. And maybe the scoring can show you. It is subjective. Which do you like the most? The one in the middle, they weren't there yet. The one on the left, not bad. But when you really get to the 7.8 analysis, there is more emotion and expression. And I just captured the focus and the sharpness a lot better. That happens when you're speaking to the subject. You're talking, oh my God, get a little closer, get a little closer. Are you there yet? It takes a while to be the better photographer to get the composition. I like the fact that this can help me get there.
I'm so happy that deep culling is trying to figure out that much of reasoning. Even when we were trying to create it, um, there's a small story behind the scenes of creation on deep culling. We were using basic culling. Most of our customers, everyone who was trying the product was using basic culling. The only problem with the basic approach was that because it was created just to understand technical filtering majorly.
Mhm.
So it was doing
Mhm.
very good when it comes to blurry and closed eyes, accidental blink, sometimes compositions
Correct.
and expressions. It does not move further like a human to understand the depth of the photo. And
Correct.
we were not able to figure out how do we make sure that based on what a photographer shoot we understand the genre, create
Mhm.
criterias based on the genre. So we were not having any idea. So we went back to the whiteboard and we brainstormed for hours, figuring out what all we can bring in. And we realized there are a lot of movies going on. So we can
Mhm.
use the
Mhm.
movies to create data of the right moments of every
Mhm.
scene and use that
Mhm.
data to create the product which can actually reason rather than just do technical filtering. And that
Mhm.
was the birth of deep culling, where instead of just doing the upper layer upstream, which is like, just let me know which photos are totally sharp in focus, and
Fine. Mhm.
it goes one level deeper and understand the photo and the moment and the action and the composition, everything which a human actually think that is beyond the AI scope of work. And it looks into it from tries to look into it like an assistant, just like if you have a human sitting behind you like an assistant, though actually
Mhm.
it's your call finally, as you said. It's a subjective decision, 100% it is, but it tries to mimic the way a photographer work in culling based on their
Mhm.
shooting style, and then tries to pick the best photos so they don't have to go through the photos again, and they can, and the reasoning capability when we change them into scores and the reasons of why the photo is selected or rejected, as you said,
Mhm.
is definitely there to build the trust in the photographer's mind, making sure that they start trusting the system rather than just like a black box approach where they just see rejected and selected and they don't know who, how and why of that.
A hundred
So
percent. And again, while shooting for your client and then having a shot list, if that shot list said take some images of the product, and same way if you're in the wedding industry and it was getting the detail shots. If you're in the sports industry, not just the crowd, not the athlete, but maybe it's the shoes, it's the laces. If the filter pixel can tell you the composition of what you did, the pose interaction, the creativity and uniqueness, and then the technical quality. So as you said, narrowing down that there's more things to why the image was selected by filter pixel, but we knew as having more intention. I took probably 40 shots of this bun and cheese because it just happened to be Easter from different angles, a little higher. There's a light shining on it. I tried to dial in different settings. This found the best photo for me and the client. It was highly rated.
wow, what a
Even if it
story.
was only highly, or even if it was only 6.7 in the AI analysis, it was highly rated and it was already narrowed down to be the best one by Filter Pixel.
Oh, what a story. My team will be so proud today to see this.
Mhm.
But I am
Mhm.
so happy that this is really making, it's way out in the photography workflows. We know like basic culling is pretty good already, but just adding deep culling into it, a layer
Mhm.
extra over the top is helping a lot of photographers that still feel like basic culling is behind the way they work, and
Mhm.
the deep culling is helping them out in making decisions quicker because now they don't spend time going through the rejects and the review. By the way, when you
Mhm.
use deep culling, you can specify a number that you really want AI to cull for you, and it culls
Correct.
exactly that number. Because now it's just scoring photos, it can pick you exactly the number of photos that you want.
100%. And I want to even be more clear that there are times that we are discussing how quickly we could get several shots and the money shot, the best shot. Yes, it doesn't exclude going back through when you have time, when there's less of a deadline, to then narrow down what you, the photographer, actually wanted exactly from that scene. Because again, most times, whether or not it was partially eyes closed, whether the eyes were open, sometimes other programs I've heard, if it is sunglasses, it can't see it very well. Then if it does, maybe the rest of the facial expression. So if you could balance whether eyes are open, whether it's perfect focus, and then the intention must be the expression, you got to have a little a system. And obviously going from best to review to rejected to try to find an image like this where no one's looking straight ahead. No one is directly expressing to us, the photographer, but your job is to get the scene. You have to be able to narrow down which one of the shots captures the scene the best for the actual client, not just the subject, because you know the subject wants to make sure that they look good, but the client wants the scene. And if you can't narrow down fast enough in real time, that's one issue. But to be able to go back and then just go by the analysis, you can teach yourself that, oh, I get it. As long as I lower it down, these were the shots that have turned out to be the money makers. These are the ones that work the best. And you should then be able to instruct your subject how to pose, how to smile, big smile, small smile, hey, relax. And then when you take that shot, whether it's the end of the series of all the images with all the subjects, you're like, okay, the best shots are always at the end. It's not always like that. Use the
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a great tip for audience, whoever is tuning in and listening to this show. This is very important that you listen and you see the analysis. That would really help you out in not only clicking the right start, but also understanding what AI is doing and how it is doing its job so that you can also learn from it, what kind of shots it is picking and is helping your clients to make you better and making that money shot that you really want. Um, yeah, quickly moving on further, I would love to see if you have um, any more tips for someone using FilterPixel before we take you off the taking the screen share off.
Um, any other tips? Yes, trust your software and trust your hardware and trust yourself. It's the only tip I got. There's several people that are telling me um, how to buy the newest brand of lens and body. I was wrong. Let me be clear. I was wrong in the beginning. I got several people that I have to give credit to. I was wrong. I needed the fastest frames per second. I needed the highest megapixels. Then I really had to do a deep dive to be like, well, what type of images are you actually shooting? What type of sporting events? Not really much. You're doing events where, yeah, you might have to capture the drummer. I know I've said that before, but the ones that pay me are the posed. If you're posing, if I'm moving you into a scene, at that time you don't need the fastest frames per second. At that time you don't need the highest megapixel. They're not exporting it and printing it in that capacity anymore. It is online. It is digital. Do you need better glass? Do you need better lenses? Yes. Do you need the AI to help you narrow down the amount, the culling? Yes. Filter Pixel all in one, doing it with the edits. Something I have to admit again, I started using the edits even more. So the profiles that are available, yes, my workflow has increased by being able to export edited images in FilterPixel to JPEG, just so that the client sees it first. Of course, I can go back. I have my own style. I use my DxO. I use Photoshop Camera Raw. I can edit it properly later. But if they are so satisfied with what I can export after editing, after culling, after 5 minutes, I'll stick with that.
Yeah, we're doing it 100%. It increased client experience. If you deliver it when they are excited, they have more
Mm-hmm.
chance to pay you then rather than later, because the excitement is there and they are super pumped to see what you have shot that day for them.
Mm-hmm.
That energy of the client, if you can turn that into real business or real
Mm-hmm.
money, that's a win for
Mm-hmm.
you as
Mm-hmm.
well. I would love to know more about something that is a secret for you,
Okay.
the real rebooking engine. So we know, like,
Mm-hmm.
you have a system for
Mm-hmm.
turning a one-time gig into a
Mm-hmm.
returning client,
Yeah.
and I want to know, like, what exactly you have cracked, or anything that you want to share, any secrets that you want to bring in for our audience to help them understand how they can bring more and more referrals to them.
Okay. Just for you. Okay. I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you two. All right. We are selling ourselves. When we're creating brands, or we're printing and we're editing and we are capturing content for a brand, it's really us. We are the brand. We, the photographer that create the content for our client. We should be the happiest person that their subjects interact with. So you have to be better at selling yourself. And some of the selling yourself is communication, is changing the tone of your voice when you're working. If you're not in the mood, you shouldn't be working. It doesn't matter which space you're in, pressure situation. If you're not in a good mood, um, you're not selling the best product for your client. And that is to have fun or to be serious. But even when you're serious and you change your tone and you look someone in the eye and say, listen, we got to get this shot and we're going to get out of here, you would have no idea how much that changes the way the person expresses themselves to get the one shot. I told you, one shot, we're getting out of here. You sell yourself. The second thing is, it's not just that big word client that I'm selling to the person who pays and cuts the check. It's everyone else in the streamline of the corporation and the business that hires you, right? It's the person you send a text to that is an assistant of an assistant that works somewhere else. Maybe that person has a lot more power to help you do your job, to communicate where you need to be, to get you assistance, and then to help present what your deliverables are up the chain. So make sure you're very friendly and you're aware everyone that you're interacting with. No one is small in the team. There's no small I in the team. Everyone is very important, and you'd be surprised how many times the networking and socializing with everyone helps. Don't just go after the big boy and I want to get your business card. No, the person who helped that man or that woman to get where they are should probably be that person's friend. They might give you the referral. I'm sure they give you the referral more than the boss.
Amazing advice. It's more of like taking care of everyone in the chain. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot skip people out just because they are
Nope.
not the decision makers. They are the
Mhm,
key decision makers. So if you
mhm,
are really taking care of the people who
mhm,
who really hang out with decision makers,
mhm,
they are your introductory bets. They are going to take you, you
mhm,
know, to the decision makers, so that you
mhm.
can really get the real referrals. Amazing
That is
advice,
it.
for sure. And I would say, like, whoever is watching this is gold. Like, if you
Mhm,
really want to make sure that you get referrals and you grow your business, um,
mhm,
this is gold advice. You need to just look into the entire communication of whom you are talking in the
mhm,
chain, and then
mhm.
from everyone you have to narrow down to how the experience feels like for everyone you are talking to.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure that everybody lies on the happy equation, and it's not the bosom, who you're targeting. um,
Mhm,
Yeah, we're talking about referrals and rebookings. I also want to
Mhm,
understand more, which is a similar kind of a, uh, you know, kind of a segment when it comes to shooting in the same day and then delivering the same
mhm,
day as well. Like you shoot and then you deliver.
mhm.
Does that help anywhere in the referral engine, or does that help anywhere in increasing the price?
Um, the easy answer is the price is the price. But I am hired and I am referred more often based on the execution, not the end result, but through the execution. So, yes, when you do show up early, yes, when you're not hungry and asking, hey, can I get something to eat? Sometimes the referral and why you can keep your price high is how you conduct yourself as an adult. I believe I am referred because, as we said, the client, the subject, and then some of the people in between all speak highly of how they see me conduct. If I open the door, if I get out of the way, if there's another vendor and they need access, and I'm more than helpful to help everyone at an event, I'm not trying to push through a security guard. I'll wait until the other photographers move into position. They see me casually getting to my spot. You'd be surprised how many other people see that. When they see how you conduct yourself like an adult and then they remember your price, that person was worth the price of how they conduct themselves in my professional space. And in that professional space, you should always remember to keep increasing your price. So if you did it for something lower, entry level, if all these keywords, then conduct yourself, don't complain, and repeat what you were doing, and you will get recognized. You can ask for more money, and that's what I said. Your price is your price. I have learned to get out of other people's way. There are other photographers in a pit that they elbow each other, right? They have to pay their mortgage to get that shot. More persons who grant access into the pit acknowledge that I don't fight. I'll rather stand back. And we technically get the same shot from the same type of camera based on our skill set. But that person, several times, doesn't get invited to those same spaces based on their conduct. They did charge more. I have never charged as much as they have, but I know now I can ask. And I've done it and I've asked and I've received.
Wow, wow, good for you. Good for you for sure. My question around pricing would be, do you have a model? Like, how do you plan pricing for your clients? Would
Mhm,
that be a custom quote that goes to
mhm,
every client, or would that be a system that would be like a fixed system? And
mhm,
my next question, which will be a follow up to that, would be, what photographers, like what you have seen, are the
mhm.
crucial mistakes to the pricing when it comes to photography?
I'll probably answer the second first. What I believe I've seen, not because we're in the same space. I've just seen where things in the industry for same day, as soon as you take the shoot, as soon as you click the image, and even before you move on to the next subject, I see photographers still focus on the basically the pay reward of assisting one client or one subject. You're hired by the client, you're taking pictures of several subjects, but the minute you focus too much time trying to get the sale or the deliverable to the subject, you're missing out on other images, other subjects, other key moments. And I understand how fast other programs and software can deliver. If it doesn't reach that subject, they come back, they ask for another. That breaks up the flow of what you should have been doing for that time frame. Step and repeats, you got to keep it moving. But if two people slow down that process, some of the VIPs, they don't want to wait. The fact that you're taking a little too long, not because you and your structure is wrong, or your workflow is wrong, but the previous subject is slowing you down from getting more images, which is what the client really wanted. I want you to get one picture of everybody. But if you're still trying to sell and you could make a profit by delivering fast, I feel that it takes away. For myself, the amount of images that I deliver is one part of the scale. The amount of time that it takes me to get there, to shoot, and to come home is how I send out my invoice. I can have an estimate, and we have a budget, or the client has a budget. We massage that part. But what really happens takes me longer to get there. I shoot longer, and then I have a shorter amount of time to deliver. So I do have a basic block, a basic price scale. I don't leave my house if it's not 3 hours, because it might be only 1 hour to shoot, but I gotta get up, I gotta prepare, I gotta download, I gotta break down. So if it's 3 to 4 hours, there's a set amount of money and there's a set amount of deliverables. It doesn't matter what event it is. I could be shooting kids, pets, wedding, conference, if that amount of time. The only time that changes is, yes, when I'm booked for a destination and it's all day.
Yeah.
So it's the breakfast party, it's the karaoke, it's the dinner, it's an entire day worth of shooting. And that, again, you should just scale. It should still be per hour, per deliverables, and your body, the toll it takes on your body, setting up, breaking down, should just be slightly elevated.
Well, that's an interesting equation, to be honest. Like you have your business in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
already calculating per hour of your
Mm-hmm.
costing. And
Mm-hmm.
the post production is definitely, if you are doing manually, like there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
photographers still doing post production manually.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking while you were talking out that culling itself can take 5 to 6 hours for someone who is not that faster on keyboard
Mm-hmm.
manually. And
Mm-hmm.
if there's somebody shooting like more than 2,000 images, they have to sit in multiple settings because it's a tiring job.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone spending 5 to 6 hours, even if a basic rate they are charging is $50 an hour, it's somewhere $250 cost to the business
Mm-hmm.
for them just culling. I'm not even talking about editing. I'm talking about
Nah.
culling for a single shoot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a single shoot having 2,000 images costing $250 to their business, and this is interesting that AI has taken such a nice take on it now that if it can cut down 80% of that time, so instead of
Mm-hmm.
spending too much time, it can cut down 80% of the cost. And
Mm-hmm.
you can still save approximately, $180 or something just uh, out of out of your entire culling cost.
I would only say what I then acknowledged is, over the years, we photographers didn't charge accordingly for software. We didn't charge to cover ourselves and then give ourselves more cushion for the monthly subscriptions, for the 1 year access to certain tools, and even for FilterPixel. If you're just saying, yes, let's just add $50 more because I want to make sure I have deep cull for this weekend, I should then make sure that I not just cover myself, but I'm gonna have to do this 4 times. It's 4 weekends. I have to not just add it on as though it's an add-on. It should have already been a part of the. You should have charged enough money to take the amount of time that it actually took before the AI tools were involved.
Yeah.
But now that they are, my price is still my price. I have
Yeah,
to stick
it
with
doesn't
that.
matter. I mean,
Yeah, the price
you
was
have made
already comfortable.
you have made yourself productive. It doesn't have to, like, it is not changing the value you are delivering to the client. I mean, for the
Nope.
client, even the value has increased because now you're delivering faster.
Hmm.
The charge should be more rather than lesser, whether you are saving time for yourself. So
Yeah.
if you're wise as a business owner, I would say you will
Hmm.
charge more because now you are saying, hey, you know what? I'm
Hmm.
delivering you the same gallery I used to deliver 2 years back.
Correct.
After 8 days, I'm delivering you on the first day. So
Hmm.
your excitement is there. You can still share that on social media,
That's right.
and I'm giving you more value. So that's why I charge premium a bit more than my previous charge.
And the only question would be versus your competitor or versus yourself. We must focus. This is only about you. It's not competing with four other photographers or companies. If that company has three shooters and they're shooting three times as much content and they are using FilterPixel to help streamline their service, they still have to pay three people. They still have a higher, breaking budget point. If you're trying to do an overwork, the amount of work that three persons are trying to do just to get the job, then that job probably isn't for you. You probably are not charging enough to compensate yourself. You should work smarter, don't work harder. That's what I
Yeah,
would say.
that's the key. That's the key,
Mhm,
100%.
mhm,
I have just the last question. I think
mhm,
before we wrap this up, you have built a brand. 178 Images has been a brand for long now. I want to
mhm,
know if you have any advice for someone watching who's trying to do the
mhm.
same thing. I would say, like, who's trying to build a brand, who's trying to be in the market, trying to stand out, trying to differentiate, how they can build a brand like you did.
Um, Let me think of that. I trusted myself and I had positive reinforcement from others. All right. I understand a lot of people do not have that. A lot of people are changing careers, professions, and they think, let me get into photography. The same way that they might get a studio space or they might try to take over someone else's business in a studio space. If that really isn't you, if you're not good with using lights and props, um, you have to trust yourself that this is not me. If you're not good with communication, then please move on to something else. This is about selling yourself. In my opinion, you have to sell yourself, and then you press the button. There's a lot of people that says, hey, if they just line up at a company and you just whoever they send, you're just one of the persons that they send to do the job. I think there are now a lot more of those turnkey cookie cutter photography opportunities. I don't know how to help you get one of those jobs, but the job that makes it satisfying to do the amount of work that you could probably work 3 days a week
Yeah,
and earn enough money in 2 weekends for your entire month of expenses. It means work really hard for those 2 or 3 days. It means satisfying a diverse set of people from a community to a religious to a political to a corporate level. You have to be able to change your shirt but keep your demeanor positive in all of
wow.
those spaces. If you can do that, then I can help you, or be a place of resource. Ask me a question. How do you go from community to corporate? It's not hard. You're the same person in both spaces. They have a downtime in corporate and they have a more serious structure time in community. You have to be somewhere in between the two of those, that you're available at 2 p.m. in the middle of the day when they're having a meeting. You have to be available at 2 a.m. after the lights are out and before the band and the superstar is on their way somewhere else. Someone's up at 2 a.m. and they need those photos to get to the wire service, to get into the paper, to talk about what just happened. If you can navigate those spaces and be the friendly person, it's an easy job.
Well, you know what? People who are watching this is the real job you have to do like a photographer. You don't need to sit behind a computer doing culling editing. This is the real thing. This is where it all changes. Your relations, how do you
Yeah.
speak to your clients? How do you appear to them? How do
Mhm.
you show up? this all matters. This is the key, and I think, yeah, you have explained it so well, so nicely.
Thank you.
I think this is going to help a lot of people who keep figuring out how this person has done it while they are still on the edge and trying to figure out things. So thank you so much for tuning in today.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
so grateful I had a chance to interview you again in the Cull room. While we wrap this up, I would love to take a minute to talk to the audience while I say you a
Mhm.
goodbye. So thank you so much for being here. I'll take you off the stage and we'll catch up again
Not a problem. See you next year.
for sure. So, guys, this was Jah Prince. You must have seen how effective he was in communications, and he has also have shown you the AI workflows, the culling workflows that he's using inside FilterPixel. I hope his insights today will enlighten you on how you can enhance your workflow and can spend more time with your clients rather than behind the computer, and at the same time can deliver the galleries on the same day or the next day rather than putting 8 weeks in your contracts. So with that note, our next CullRoom session will be on 15th, and you will find all the details about that session in the Facebook group. We have three CullRoom sessions for you. This was our first one. This is our first attempt. So if you are watching this and you really liked it, please let us know in the comment sections. Even if you see the recording, I will wait to see all of your messages. With that, I will just end this live and hope to see you soon in the next Cull Room. Bye for now.